Rudolph Fentz Case. According to urban legends, a man suddenly appeared in the middle of Times Square, New York City, on a busy Thursday evening in June 1950. Witnesses later said he was struck by a taxi and killed instantly, right in front of dozens of stunned bystanders. Police reports claim the victim was identified as Rudolph Fentz based on the contents of his wallet. Investigators noted he was dressed in a black frock coat and buttoned shoes typical of the 1870s. Despite the outdated style, the clothing looked brand new, showing no signs of wear or aging. Inside his pockets were copper tokens from a tavern that had been demolished back in 1876. He was also carrying $70 in old banknotes that had been out of circulation for decades. Strangely, there was no modern identification, nothing linking him to the year 1950. Several witnesses said the man appeared confused, looking around in shock before stepping directly into traffic. Captain Hubert V. Rime of the Missing Persons Bureau reportedly opened an investigation into the case. While reviewing old records, investigators allegedly found a missing persons report from 1876 for a man named Rudolph Fentz. The report described a man who vanished during an evening walk, and the details matched the accident victim perfectly. According to later accounts, Rime also discovered a listing for Rudolph Fentz Jr. in a 1939 New York phone directory. The younger man reportedly stated that his father had disappeared mysteriously in 1876 and was never seen again. A photograph of the father was said to be identical to the man killed in Times Square, down to the smallest detail. The case was quietly filed away, with some claiming it was considered too strange for public release. Even so, stories circulated that retired officers continued whispering about the incident for decades. Some theorists believe Rudolph Fentz may have been the victim of a temporal anomaly, and to them, the authentic 19th century artifacts and matching records point to a reality far stranger than any official explanation. Philadelphia Experiment. In the summer of 1955, Morris Jessup received a letter that would challenge the very nature of reality. The sender was a man named Carl Allen, and his claims were unlike anything in modern history. Allen claimed to have witnessed the U.S. Navy experimenting with electromagnetic invisibility in 1943. While serving on a nearby vessel, he watched as the USS Eldridge allegedly vanished from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. The ship didn't just disappear from radar. Witnesses claimed it vanished entirely before reappearing in a flash of light. But the crew that returned from the experiment was reportedly no longer the same. Some sailors reportedly became partially invisible, unable to anchor themselves to the physical world. Others allegedly developed the terrifying ability to walk through solid walls without warning. Most disturbing were the claims that some men had become completely unstuck in time. Witnesses described sailors freezing mid-sentence in local bars, disappearing from sight for minutes at a time. When they returned, they spoke of being in the past or the future, their lives playing out of sequence. One man reportedly walked through a wall and vanished, never to be seen again. Another sailor was supposedly found fused into the ship's hull, a victim of a botched return to reality. One account tells of a sailor who aged 30 years in moments, dying of old age before his shipmates. The Navy allegedly covered up the incident, transferring the survivors and classifying the project. Yet, stories persisted of men appearing and disappearing at random in the months that followed. Some claim the sailors eventually lost their sanity as they drifted further away from linear time. Allendy's descriptions were remarkably accurate regarding advanced electromagnetic theories, far beyond what a sailor should know. Researchers later discovered that official logs from the USS Eldridge for October 1943 were mysteriously missing. Those few crew members who were found refused to utter a single word about their time in Philadelphia. The missing records and consistent reports of temporal shifts suggest that the truth may have been buried long ago. The Devil's Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle stretches across the dark, volatile waters between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Since the early 20th century, hundreds of reports have emerged of vessels and aircraft vanishing without a trace. But survivors tell an even more unsettling story of watches skipping beats or time coming to a complete standstill. In 1955, stories began to circulate of a pilot who flew into a massive, swirling cloud formation. His navigation instruments allegedly began to spin uncontrollably, as if the very laws of physics had broken down. The compass needle refused to find north, wandering aimlessly in the void. Upon exiting the zone, he reportedly discovered he had arrived 30 minutes ahead of schedule. Professional mariners have shared similar accounts of the sky turning an eerie shade of green. They described the ocean falling silent, as if the world itself had paused. The atmosphere becomes thick, heavy, and undeniably wrong. In 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers known as Flight 19 vanished during a routine mission. The flight leader's final radio transmission claimed that even the ocean looked strange. Not a single piece of wreckage from the 5 planes was ever recovered. According to some accounts, the rescue team sent to find them vanished as well. Scientists point to methane gas or rogue waves as logical explanations for these disasters. Others suggest unstable magnetic fields might be the true culprit behind the chaos. Yet, these theories fail to explain the persistent reports of time anomalies. How can a clock simply stop, or a plane arrive before it was physically possible? This is where the narrative shifts from science to the unexplained. On the fringes of the internet, countless personal testimonies describe losing minutes or hours. Fishermen and pilots report a sudden loss of memory and a feeling of being out of reality. While many dismiss these as hallucinations, the consistency of the stories is hard to ignore. Some believe the triangle houses a dimensional portal or a rift in the fabric of space-time. A theory exists that lost technology from Atlantis still operates beneath the waves. Others suspect the area is a testing ground for classified military experiments. More extreme theories suggest a natural wormhole, a shortcut through the universe itself. Modern navigation technology has made the region safer, but the mystery remains. John Titor, the Time Travel Zero. In the year 2000, an online figure known as John Titor appeared with a story that seemed to defy reality itself. He claimed to be a soldier from the year 2036, sent back in time on a critical and desperate mission. According to Titor, his objective was to retrieve an IBM 5100, an obscure vintage computer rumored to possess a hidden and highly unusual technical capability. Over the next 2 years, he posted extensively online, sharing detailed technical schematics and offering explanations of quantum mechanics with an unsettling level of confidence and precision. He described his time machine as a C204 unit, originally installed inside a 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Later, he claimed the device had been transferred to a 1987 Chevrolet Suburban, citing the need for greater cargo space. As interest in his story grew, followers pointed to a prediction he made in 2001, that no weapons of mass destruction would ever be found in Iraq. Titor also warned that CERN's Large Hadron Collider would eventually lead to the discovery of miniature black holes. Some believe he accurately anticipated the rise of smartphones and social networks years before they became part of everyday life. Perhaps most disturbing was his warning of an American Civil War, triggered by a gradual loss of civil liberties. He claimed a major domestic terrorist event would cause citizens to willingly trade freedom for the promise of security. Titor's credibility deepened when he revealed obscure debugging functions within the IBM 5100, features that were not publicly documented at the time. According to later reports, a former IBM engineer confirmed that these hidden capabilities were in fact real. Photographs shared by Titor showed a complex machine accompanied by what appeared to be a legitimate technical manual. Then, in March of 2001, John Titor abruptly vanished from the internet, stating that his mission was complete. His final message was a brief warning, saying he would soon be leaving this world line. Years later, the eerie accuracy of some of his observations, especially regarding social division, continues to linger across the internet. And to this day, we're left wondering whether John Titor was merely a brilliant hoaxer, or a traveler from a reality not so different from our own. Andrew Carlssin, man from the year 2256. In early 2003, a story surfaced in the United States that seemed to defy reality. It centered on a man named Andrew Carlssin, who was detained by federal authorities after a series of inexplicable stock market wins. According to reports, Carlssin allegedly turned a mere $800 into over $350 million in just 2 weeks. He executed 126 high-risk trades, each one hitting with near-perfect accuracy. This impossible pattern immediately caught the attention of the SEC and federal financial investigators. During the initial interrogation, Carlssin could provide no logical reason for his uncanny ability to predict market movements. But the case took a turn for the bizarre when he reportedly offered a startling explanation. Andrew Carlssin claimed he was not from the present day, but a time traveler from the year 2256. He allegedly told investigators he traveled back to the 21st century to exploit his knowledge of historical economic events. Stories circulated that he knew the exact dates of corporate collapses, stock surges, and global financial crises. It was even suggested that he predicted international conflicts and specific technological breakthroughs before they happened. While federal authorities remained skeptical, they were reportedly unable to find any conventional evidence of insider trading or hacking. With no connection to corporate elites or political circles, Carlssin was held on the grounds of potentially destabilizing the market. The mystery deepened when an unidentified lawyer reportedly paid a $1 million bond to secure his release. Shortly after his release, Andrew Carlssin vanished without a trace, leaving no record of his departure or future whereabouts. Since then, the tale of Andrew Carlssin has evolved into a modern legend, debated by skeptics and believers alike. Some argue he was part of a secret experiment, or perhaps a temporal agent who failed a classified mission. Some even suggest the story was a distraction, meant to hide real market manipulation by the financial elite. This case is often compared to the enigmatic John Titor, another figure who claimed to be from the future during the same era. While no concrete proof of time travel exists today, the question remains how one man could achieve such impossible accuracy.